Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons advice video on gender swapping player characters. Running a player character of the other gender. Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your social media platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the Devo Poland Chronicles. The two books that I've got written so far are up there. I'm working on a third one. I'm almost done with it. The first one is Vanguard 1. The second one is Task Force Terminus. They are futuristic space warfare type thing. It's an exploration of humanity from an alien perspective. And I'm working on the third one. It's called Gulag of the Damned. So if you like a good science fiction story, check those out. I hope you get it. I hope you like it. All right. Gender swapping player characters. The other day, I saw a video by Jenny D on this subject. She is an online role-playing game personality. If you have not seen her, she is amazing. She always gives good, solid, sound advice, and she's not a grumpy old gamer like me. She actually has a personality. I highly recommend you check her out. She has really great videos. Being a generation or more removed, I figured I'd give my take on players running characters of the opposite gender. First, some background. In case you don't know, I started playing Advanced Dungeons, or D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Back in 1976, we started with Chainmail and started working our way up from there. Red Box Edition. I started running Advanced Dungeons and Dragons back in 1979. This gender swapping player characters has never, ever been an issue, ever, except for once, and I'm going to get to that. Sure, you get those morons from time to time who exhibit their homophobia, and still others simply cannot wrap their mind around a dude playing a female role or a girl playing a He-Man. I had one guy tell the group that he would not play in a group where men played females because, and I quote, "There's nothing about a big old hairy butt crack that turns me on." That is exactly what the man said. I shit you not. And yeah, we never played with him. he left, so amen. One dungeon master announced at the very first game session that he would not allow men to play females or women to play males because he didn't want. He said, "quote He did not want homos in his game." Close quote. Yeah, those were his exact words. My three friends and I said, "Cool, bye," and we left. One of my friends was gay, and another was his sister. We never saw him again. Yeah, people like that you just want to avoid. Dungeons and Dragons has always accepted everyone. The games, regardless of what edition, have accepted the games regardless of whatever edition you play. They've accepted everyone, regardless of race, color, creed, sexual preference, gender, or whatever. Everyone is welcome in Dungeons and Dragons. This goes for every tabletop role-playing game ever made. Period. Full stop. Bar none. If a dungeon master excludes anyone for any of these reasons, they do not deserve the title of dungeon master. There are reasons to disinclude people from your game, but these reasons are not it. If the person is making trouble or being a dick or whatever, that's fine. I can see that. But the people I just talked about, those are the ones, that need to be disincluded. As for the role play aspect, there are going to be problems. When a man role plays a woman, there's going to be problems. When a woman role plays a man, there's going to be problems. Men and women are completely different critters. Any woman who expects a man to play a woman to perfection is crazy. Women are complex and men are more basic. There's no way a man can play a woman properly. Conversely, any man who expects a woman to play a man to perfection is also crazy. Men are too basic, and it's extremely difficult for a woman to debase herself to that level. That's the way I see it. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but that's my opinion. This is not a slight on either. It's not a knock on anyone's intelligence, emotional stability, or roleplay skill. It is exceedingly difficult for anyone to roleplay as the other gender. Anyone who does so well deserves extra experience points because they have accomplished something important. Players should not get seriously upset or offended by another player failing to roleplay a character of the other gender well. We're here to have fun. Now, if you find yourself getting upset because another player plays their character differently than you think they should be played, then it's your problem. A guy who plays a female as a nymphomaniac or a badass like Valeria from Conan is probably projecting something. He probably fantasizes about nymphomaniacs or badass bitches. Honestly, you'd be hard-pressed to find a man who hasn't had those fantasies from time to time. A girl who plays a male as thoughtful, kind, strong, heroic, and intelligent has obviously fantasized about this guy. He's probably her ideal man. And this is a fantasy role-playing game, after all. We're not here for total reality. If we were, we'd just stick to reality. If someone is playing their character in a way you think is wrong, tough shit. Deal with it. Role-play around it in the game. Now for the flip side. One thing I find irritating is when any player plays any character in a stereotypical fashion. As a player, you have a huge canvas and unlimited colors and textures with which to paint your character. A stereotypical character, to me, is just basic black and white. What I find difficult is creating original player characters that are survivable. A funny story. Years ago, I was playing in my friend George's game. The other players hounded me to run something so completely different from anything that I'd ever run before. Enter Pinky, the gay dwarf. I created a fighter that was so badass that he outclassed every other player character in the group by orders of magnitude. And he had pink bows in his braided beard. What I did not realize was the amount of sheer homophobia in that group. Our mage wanted nothing to do with Pinky. Our cleric wouldn't heal him, and several refused to sleep at night for fear that he would rape them in their sleep. One player actually left the game and took their teenage boy with them because he didn't want to play a game with a gay player character. I shit you not. That was what happened, and it was disgusting. If you want to find out people's phobias and hang-ups, run a player character of the other gender. Or if you really want to rip the tarp off of the rotting fruit, run a gay player character. This is the only time it was ever a problem. And it wasn't a problem for long because the game ended after 1.5 sessions. Some people will surprise you, and sometimes the surprise is not a good one. They wanted me to run something different, so I did. And then they got mad about what I ran. Not because it was me running it, not because of how I ran it, but the fact that the player character was gay. I didn't think I did a bad job. I wasn't offensive to people. I wasn't attacking people, verbally, physically, or whatever. But you're going to find people with different mindsets, and sometimes it's better just to run ideas in front of the group before you run the character. The problem with that character was not mine. I was okay running it. The problem was with the group, and I didn't realize they were all that bad. At any rate, that's my experience with gender swapping in games, and I got to say this: there's 2 players that I used to play with who were absolutely gay, They were not in the closet at all, and they were so fun to play with. They were great players. They role played well. They were smart. They were funny. They made the game better by being there. Okay, so if you have the opportunity to have a gay person in your game, do so because they're wonderful. As far as gender swapping player character genders, I don't think it's that big a deal. If somebody's playing a character of a different gender and of the other gender, and you're not you're not happy about how they're doing it, then it's your problem. It's not theirs. So yeah, that's my take on it, and I hope this finds everybody well. If anybody else has comments, and if I offended somebody, I don't mean to, but if there's any comments or any stories or anything like that, stick them in the comments. I'm sure we'd all love to read them. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.